Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Amulya's Corner, where we spotlight changemakers who are reimagining leadership, security, and social impact in bold and creative ways. Today, I have the absolute honor of speaking with someone whose work really sits at the intersection of purpose, storytelling, and culture, Pam Hacker, Vice President of Social Impact at Kyndryl. Pam is a force in the world of mission. She's a leader who has helped shape brands and institutions and how they think about equity, representation, and impact. She's also someone I deeply admire and someone who leads with her heart, wears her emotions on her sleeve, and really knows how to turn vulnerability into strength. Whether she's on stage or behind the scenes building partnerships that uplift underrepresented communities. And Pam is not only an accomplished executive, but also a performer who recently returned to the spotlight at none other than Studio 54, reprising roles that she first played over 2 decades ago. Pam, I'm so excited to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Okay, Amelia, like that introduction, like, can you send that to my daughters?
I
It
sure
listen,
will.
you please do. And listen, it goes both ways. Thanks for having me. You're someone I look up to, so this is everything.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. And I really admire your work. And I actually kind of want to talk about your recent return to the stage. And it's such a powerful full circle moment. So you're stepping back on stage at Studio 54 after more than 25 years. How has your theater background helped shape the way you lead, communicate, and build trust in your work as a social impact leader?
My theater background is everything to me. It's how I got to where I am today. It's how I show up in a room. It's in my heart, it's in my soul. I'm a theater kid by heart, but that has informed me as a leader, as an executive, as a manager. I People to me are everything, and getting to the heart of people and being true and being authentic to ourselves. And that's what theater's about, right? Showing up on stage as your authentic self. It has really opened up doors for me and really shined a light on what's possible. Theater, the basis of theater is yes and that foundation of yes and opens up meetings, opens up more productive conversations, and allows you to have fun. Like,
Yes.
work is hard, but work is really fun. So how do you bring that playfulness and fun to the hard work that we're doing every day?
It is so refreshing to hear you be so passionate about something that may not be related to the work that you do, but really is like there's a lot of parallels between it. And so I absolutely love that. And there also is something so vulnerable about, live performance, right? And something very similar in the world of social impact where change is really never guaranteed. Do you see any parallels between being a performer and being a leader?
So many,
Ah.
but so many. But honestly, and I think you know me enough by now,
Mhm.
how I show up, I'm always Pam, and that is, I don't know, maybe it's indescribable, but I show up as my authentic self,
Mhm.
and maybe I'm too much for some people or others, but for really, and I think that's what the Pam effect, so to speak, right? Because I only know how to show up as my authentic self. And that doesn't matter what stage I'm on or what meeting I'm in, I'm going to bring who I am to the table.
I got that from the very first time I ever met you. And I just love that you are yourself and you're being so authentic because for people like me, sometimes it's hard just to, walk into a space that maybe that there's not a lot of representation and I feel intimidated. You've spent your career crafting campaigns and partnerships that spark change. What makes a story powerful enough to move people from empathy to action?
Again, it goes back to being authentic, right? I think, your generation, really any generation of consumers or customers or audiences want to see authenticity, right? And you'll see right through it if not. So you have to tell truthful, authentic stories. And what's authentic to Kyndryl has been very different than what was authentic to the stories I told at HBO or the stories I told at Sesame Street. But that narrative of being an authentic storyteller, of being true to who we are and what our mission as a brand, that if you do that, you're hitting all the pieces, and you're hitting a chord in someone to say, you know what, that tracks with me. I feel something. And now what do I do about that? And as a social impact leader and passionate person who cares so deeply about this work, it's not enough to tell the story. I always want people to be affected by the story. And then what do they do with that? What's that call to action? And it could be one or more things, right? There could be, it could be make a donation, but it could be how can I volunteer in my community, or it could be how can I mentor, that next generation of people. But there has to be something that moves you. And again, if you tell the story the right way, in an authentic way, it moves people to make change.
Mm-hmm. Is there a story at your time at Kyndryl that has really like stuck with you in the social impact space?
Recently, we were up at the Colin Powell School, which is one of our partners here in New York City, and we were listening to some of the research that the students were preparing and sharing with us. And this one girl got up and told her story, and I was just so affected by her story. And she couldn't be more different from me. She is an immigrant, came here to this country, was raised by a single mom, all these things that I couldn't relate to, but yet every word that she said, I held on to. So in true Pam form, I had to share that with her. So we had a break. I went up to her after, and I just said, I can't, your story touched me. Thank you for sharing it. And I could see how vulnerable she was, how authentic she was. And we got an email a couple of days later from the head of the program. The director said, but I have to tell you, this one woman who spoke said that date changed her, that people came up to her after and said they saw her, they heard her, she felt seen, and she felt like that moment changed her her turn in life. I mean, even thinking about it, I'm like, okay. I mean, that's one girl. That's one girl here in New York City. Um, and I shared it with the rest of our team. I shared it with the head of our corporate affairs. That's what our work is doing, one person at a time. And I have so many stories like that. But for her, to be seen and heard, and she was so scared to tell her story. And after that, that I was like, okay, team, like let's keep doing that, and we have to, be transparent and honest with our feedback. And she, I'm that to me, I'm like, great, keep going.
It is such a privilege to be seen and to be loved loudly in the work that you do in your personal life. And so I love that you feel safe. And I also know that you've helped so many organizations, from studios and now a tech firm, think more critically about who gets seen and who gets heard in these spaces.
Yeah,
so what does it mean to embed inclusion into a company's DNA beyond just checking boxes or launching one-off initiatives?
Yeah, listen, I think my outside in real life people would say I'm an overly inclusive person, because it's just how I operate, and I can never have enough voices at the table. And listen, I think it's important for brands today to live that as well, right? Especially in this day and age of how we show up in the world. It's our job, it's our responsibility
Mhm.
as companies to shine a light on communities who may not have those opportunities
Absolutely.
or resources or access. And when you get to work for a company like Kyndryl, who cares so deeply and making our own investments in those communities to ensure that our people are empowered to volunteer and to give back, but that we are supporting organizations who are on the ground doing the work, whether it's here in the US, in Japan, in India, in Spain, Portugal, you name it, in over 50 countries where Kyndryl operates. That's priority. And that's coming from Martin, our CEO,
Yeah.
from the top down. And honestly, that's where success happens, when it's built into the DNA of your leaders. And our foundation, our Kyndryl Foundation board, is made up of our executive team who care so deeply about this work. It is part of what we call, and you've heard us say this, the Kyndryl way. It's how we show up. It's how we show up, not just for our customers, for our Kyndryls, but our communities. And that's our world. That's me and you, right? That's our world. If we show up for our communities, and it's all the same, right? Again, we're being very authentic of how we do business, but also how we take care of the people, in our communities.
Mhm. I love that. And I also love that you're repping the Kyndryl Reds. So
I
yay.
again, yeah, this is how I show up in the office with our gorgeous green background. It feels very at home.
As someone who leads with so much heart, how do you care for yourself and stay grounded when the work feels maybe especially heavy?
Yeah, that is a great question. And listen, I think it's taken me a long time to
Hmm.
figure that out, Amelia, because I sometimes say I care too much. And there's no such thing, but and I say this, my team will be the first one that I say, take care of yourselves first. If we don't take care of ourselves, then we can't be great Kindrels. We can't be great friends. We can't be good family members. So to me, and I'll say also Kindrel, we have an incredible program around like be well. How do you take care of yourself? And that's for me, it's working out, it's being on stage, it's
Mhm.
traveling, and taking that time. When my team takes off, they better take off.
Right.
And this is a place where we're, supported to do that.
I love that. I do. And at Girl Security, when I think of national security, sometimes I think of it as protecting people, maybe not systems necessarily. I think that
Yeah.
social impact has a big role to play in that. In your experience, how can social impact work act as a form of protection, especially for communities that are historically left out or marginalized?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, the protection, and I guess I don't think of it that way, right? But even when, I mean, 2 years ago, I never said the word cybersecurity, and well, yeah, you know that. And now I'm talking about how do we ensure that, our incredible women in India who are starting their own businesses in rural places,
Mhm.
that they're cyber secure, right? So it's sharing expertise and tools and actual technology for these communities who may not have access. It's also providing, training and upskilling. So young men in Japan who have been shunned from society have not just a reason, but the tools to excel in society. But we're protecting ourselves, but we're also, listen, we're teaching you that
Mhm.
next generation of technology leaders, but the next generation of leaders. How do we thrive in this world of technology? How do we set up a place where we are safe,
Yeah.
right? And so it's companies, we can't do this work without partnerships like yours, right? Like we can't and we will not do this work alone. And that's again, that is, I take that to heart for sure.
And you know what? You're right, because at the end of the day, if you don't have community, what do you have? You have helped so many people tell their stories, but I want to turn the spotlight back onto you. What's a piece of your own story, a turning point, a doubt, maybe joy that helped shape how you lead today?
Oh God, it's a tough one. Pam 20 years ago is probably pretty like the Pam I am today. I think, as it comes with experience and time, you obviously gain the confidence. Um, I think a turning point for me was leaving, the world of entertainment and media, which I had been in most of my career, and coming to a company like Kyndryl.
Mhm.
As scary. It's been scary, Amelia. But I know from past experience that change is good. So even at this point in my life, to challenge myself, knowing that I know how to be a social impact leader, right? No matter if it's entertainment, media, or tech, right?
Mhm.
It's using a company's resource for good. That has always been true to who I am.
Mhm.
And this has triggered something in me for the past 2 years that I'm not even sure I knew I had in me. And Kyndryl ignited something in me, and this team and this work has ignited something in me that And Una, the head of our corporate affairs, said it best. We've really only just begun
Mhm.
because we're so young. So there's so much opportunity here for us to make an impact in this world.
If you could leave one message for the next generation of social impact leaders, especially those who lead with heart, because I'm so inspired by you, what would it be?
It's just that.
Mhm.
Lead with your heart unapologetically.
Mhm.
And that for me has come with a lot of time and a lot of growing up. But I know that's what makes me the leader I am today. Also, find a place like Kyndryl that fosters that. Because
Mhm.
when you find a place that you feel that you could be your authentic self, and I may be, a bit of a unicorn here, but my authenticity is fostered here. And I feel like sky's the limit here.
Mhm.
So hold on to that.
I will. And I just want to say, Pam, thank you so much for this amazing, wonderful conversation, for sharing your insights, your energy, and your story so generously. You are so vibrant and just so beautiful. And you've shown me and everyone who is watching that creativity is strategy, your vulnerability is leadership, and that impact is something that we build together with a lot of courage and with a lot of love. And so I just want to say that we will be cheering you both on and off the stage.
Okay, Amulya, I mean, like I said, we'd take this on the road, my friend. You are a gift to this world, and
Oh,
I feel much more optimistic about this world when there's people like you leading the charges.
oh, that's so sweet. Well, like I said, when I grow up, you're who I want to be. I feel like I just am walking away from this conversation feeling so inspired and so emboldened just to do the work that we do. And if that's not what I'm feeling like, then I'm having the wrong conversations, but clearly I'm having the right conversation.
You're on the right track, Amulya. You're on the right track.